And so we got married and we created a plan and we paid off $60,000 of debt in 2 years. And from there, I had a lot of friends and family asking, how did you do that? What did you do? And I realized that's what we did isn't something that typically happens in a lot of households, that it wasn't common.
Not common
And
at all.
right. And from there, I was still working in education at the time, so no thoughts of leaving the field. But once I did end up making a move, we moved across the country and I became a stay at home mom for a little while. And I realized when I wanted to go back to work, I wanted to do something helping people with their finances. I'm like,
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Financial Abundance Podcast. You are in for a treat. We have someone who has years of experience helping people, especially women, get out of debt, build wealth. And for those people who are renting and you're looking to save money so that you can invest in your own home, the person that you want to work with is Malika Daniels. Malika, how are you doing?
hey, I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And to my listeners, once again, you can always book a free call with me at www.madillard.com. My name is Michael Dillard. I'm the author of Build Generational Wealth, Retire Early. It is an educational, entertaining fiction book about personal finance, how Marcus met Latoya at church and started dating, and then his uncle passed on financial knowledge. And that's how it goes. Sharing is caring. So, Malika, tell us about your business, who you are, what made you get started into personal finance.
All right. So, a little bit about me is I'm a wife, I'm a mother to two young kids, and I'm a former teacher. I'm someone who's always enjoyed learning about finances and reading finance books and listening to finance podcasts. And I've always had a saver mentality. So, I've always been pretty good at saving my money and not overspending. But once I met my husband, he had student loan debt and I had a full ride to college. So I didn't have any student loan debt. And I told him, I'm like, you know what, if we get married, I want us to create a plan and pay off this debt. And so we got married and we created a plan and we paid off $60,000 of debt in 2 years. And from there, I had a lot of friends and family asking, how did you do that? What did you do? And I realized that's what we did isn't something that typically happens in a lot of households, that it wasn't common.
Not
And
common at all.
right. And from there, I was still working in education at the time, so no thoughts of leaving the field. But once I did end up making a move, we moved across the country and I became a stay at home mom for a little while. And I realized when I wanted to go back to work, I wanted to do something helping people with their finances. I'm like, I really enjoy talking about money. I really enjoy helping people figure out their budgets and all those things. So I went back to school, got a certification in banking and finance, and I started working as a money coach then. And then I eventually even went back further and got an accredited financial counseling certification by it's called the AFC, and so that I was had all the skills needed to be the most proficient at helping people. So my goal now is to really just help women to pay off that debt and figure out how to start building wealth, understanding what their financial goals are, and feel empowered to take control of their finances, because a lot of times it feels like your finances are controlling you. And I want people to understand that you have the control in this and that you can make changes and take action that is going to change your life for the future and even change your children's lives and make a big difference.
Okay, you opened up a Pandora's box when you said you
Yes.
realized one, this wasn't normal. Like paying off $60,000 in 2 years. What were people saying and doing? Because imagine you graduate from college, everyone's buying a nice house, the cars and everything, and they're looking at you like, what's going on? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like people, I guess, were looking up to me, and I didn't truly understand it because I didn't think I was doing anything extraordinary. Before we got married, I had bought a condo because I was always a good saver. So I had all this money saved up, and I'm like, what should I do with it? And so my sister was like, well, you're renting. Why don't you buy a place instead? So I bought my house, and all my friends were like, how do you have the money to buy a house? We're 20 something years old. What's going on? And I'm
How
like,
did you have the money?
I just was a saver. So got my first teaching job right out of college, opened up a high interest savings account. And back then the interest rates were like 7%.
Whoa.
And so I was just throwing money into the high interest savings account whenever I got paid. But I didn't really have a plan on what I was going to do with it at the time. I just knew it's good to save. Like I wanted to make sure I had a good emergency fund lined up. And then when I realized that, oh, I have enough where I could actually buy a house, the timing of it really worked in my favor as well, I will say. So I bought I went under contract in that property in 2010, and it was a short sale. So the people that had previously owned it had paid like full market value for it at that time. And then with the market crashing, they were now underwater and they were selling it for way less than it was truly worth. So I got a great deal on that property that I
Well,
bought. But
something's not adding up a little bit, Malika, because wow, how do you go from what something inspired you? There was something that you had fear somewhere, something scared
you
you,
know,
someone you read a book, someone inspired you. You
what's
got to tell us.
funny is I really feel like I've had this mindset since I was a child. So as a kid, I used to babysit, 13 years old, babysit, but I never really spent the money. I just kept it in my drawer. I didn't have a bank account. I just kept it in my drawer in my room. And all my siblings, my mom would even borrow money from me all the time because they're like, oh, we know Malika's got money. I'm like, yeah, it's in my
Yeah.
drawer. And so I was like the house bank. Like I just was.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've just
Okay.
always been that way. I'm not sure why. I didn't think anything about it back then. And then when I got in my 20s, I started to try to learn more about it because I'm like, oh, there's, a lot to go with money. So I started, you know, reading Dave Ramsey books and Susie Orman books and all that kind of stuff. But I really have been this way since I was little. I'm not big on material things. I never have been. And
Okay.
so if I got something I need to buy, I will buy it. But I don't like to spend a lot of money on frivolous stuff.
So now that leads us a little bit into your profession and what something I observed as a personal finance coach is a lot of times people don't want to pay for the financial education. They don't want to read. They want
Mhm.
someone to do it for them, but they don't want to take invested interest in their own
Yeah.
future. How do you deal with having those conversations when you see people making bad financial decisions?
Yeah, definitely. So, a big thing for me is yes, we're going to talk about the numbers, but I also focus a lot on the mindset. And I developed something that I call the 8 qualities of a money planner. And it's just different mindset things that we talk about during our coaching sessions to help you to shift the way you think about money and the way that you deal with money. And one of those things, the first one we talk about is taking accountability. And it's taking accountability for your past, your present, and your future finances because this idea that someone else would just do it for you is not the reality of it. Like you are the person that has to make those financial decisions day in and day out. And sometimes 20 times a day, we're making different financial decisions. And
Yep.
so at the end of the day, if you want to be successful with your finances, you have to realize that the onus is on you. You're the one driving this money train, you're driving the bus, right? So I just have that conversation a lot. Like, if you're having struggles and you tried this or tried that and it's not working, like maybe working with somebody that can help to guide you and get you on that right path. Um, but at the end of the day, I always say I am not like a fairy godmother. I can't wave around and fix your finances for you.
Yep.
I can give you direction, I can guide you and support you all the way. But at the end of the day, you have to be ready to make that change. And so that's a big conversation I have with people before they sign up with me. Like I make sure that you understand what this is. I'm like, this is not me coming in and just like saving the day for you. You have to save the day for yourself, and I'm going to support you through it.
Recently, I was talking to a great guest, and she mentioned money is emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Money is emotional. And it hit me. And I realized that, yeah, a lot of times people are making decisions based upon how they feel. I feel hungry today. I'm starving. I didn't plan. So let me stop
Yes.
and get this fast food real quick because I didn't plan, right?
Yes.
Let me go buy this pair of shoes for this party I'm going to go to. But then next week they got another event that they got to go to. So all these things you have to go to. It's like, do you really have to go? Do you really have to have
Mm-hmm.
shoes? So then you start to realize that people don't plan when it comes to spending their money.
Yes. Yep. And that's exactly why I chose the name that I did for my business, Women Who Money Plan, because I want people to think about the plans and be intentional with the decisions that they make. And one thing I've learned as I've gotten more and more into coaching that handling your money is a lot like handling your health, like your physical health, like eating right and things like that. Because it's a lot of times it's emotional, like, oh, I feel bad today. I'm gonna go eat McDonald's or whatever. You know what I mean? Like we want to feed those emotions with food a lot of times. And so what I'm learning, not just in finances, but even in physical health, is you need to move based on your plan, not on your emotions. So like if you have a
Oh, you got
plan,
to
you're
repeat
trying
that
to
one
lose
again,
weight.
Melissa. That's
Yeah.
You got to move
You got to
according
make
to
moves
what?
based on your plan, not on your emotions. Because emotions are always going to be there. If I'm trying to lose weight and I'm like feeling like I'm not in the mood to go to the gym or I'm not in the mood to cook anything healthy, that's my feelings. But what's my plan say? My plan says I'm supposed to go to the gym 3 times a week. My plan says I'm
Mm,
supposed to, not eat out or whatever. So like you really need to make decisions based on the plan instead of your emotions because the emotions are going to steer you wrong almost all the time. So, and it's the same when it comes to
yes.
money.
Yes, yes, yes. And I just recalled the podcast episode, Sarah Penfold. Folks, go to Financial Abundance Podcast and listen to the podcast where I had my special guest, Sarah Penfold, where she really tells you why money is emotional. She studied it
Mhm.
for years, so she has some information that will help you change your mindset about money. Now, this is interesting conversation because when it comes to investing, a lot of times people, Malika, they want that $1 million tomorrow. So how do you tell people it's not possible? On TV, you can get this. You got this infinite banking. You got this. You got that. You got the Bitcoin. You got all this stuff that you can make 1,000% return overnight.
Yeah. So I have a few thoughts when it comes to investing. One, I wish somebody would have told me the importance of investing when I was younger. All I knew was don't spend a ton of money and save your money. And that's one thing, like if I could go back in time, I would tell my 13-year-old self who was babysitting and just sticking that money in my drawer to put that
Yes.
into a Roth IRA. Like I wish I could go back,
Ooh.
like for
That's what I'm
sure.
doing for my daughter
So,
right now. I made
yeah.
her put money in her Roth IRA right now,
Yes.
and she's working. And she said, "Dad, time for you to transfer money again into my Roth account." The
Yes. I
mindset,
love that.
Malika.
I love that. So yeah, that's one thing about investing is like starting early is key. Time. What is that phrase? Time in the market is better than
Yes.
timing the market.
Oh,
So the
yes.
sooner you can get in, the better. But also, people have a lot of fear when it comes to investing,
I know.
and so one of my phrases in the 8 Qualities of a Money Planner is "Do it scared." It
Do
is okay to
it.
have fear.
Ooh, we got to repeat it again for the
Do
people
it
that didn't catch it.
scared. Yeah.
Do it
I do
scared.
it all the time. I'm scared of a lot of different things. Doing podcasts intimidates me, right?
Ooh, you
But
can't
I'm doing
tell. You
it
look like a
anyway.
natural.
Yes. I'm doing it anyway. So doing things scared, I think is so important. So if you're someone who knows that people are making money doing this investing thing, but you're unsure about it. First thing is just get some information, like talk to people that are doing it, read some books, talk to a money coach, talk to a financial advisor, do different things to learn more about it and educate yourself, and then take the leap and just start. Um, but in terms of the get rich quick stuff, when it's like investing that we hear a lot of, I try to focus my clients on first build a solid foundation. Like it's like building a house, right? You have to
Mm,
have a solid foundation first. So pay off that credit card debt, that high interest debt, build up an emergency fund. So if something pops up, you can handle that. Make sure you're putting money away
mm,
consistently for your retirement, for the future. Get
mm.
all those things, your ducks in a row there. And then if you want to try some of these other extravagant investing things that you've heard about, I say use what I call like play money. I've
Okay.
done it, plenty of times. Like, oh, let me try with this with a little bit of money, a small percentage of money that if you lost it all, it's not going to affect your life whatsoever, right?
Yep.
So I feel like when you're hearing all these like try this, try that, you have to make sure your ducks are in a row first, and you've got all those aligned, and you might have a little bit of money that you set aside to try to do some of this extra stuff to jump into. I love Bitcoin. I got into Bitcoin a few years ago and it's doing well right now. So I'm happy. So I
Yes.
would never tell somebody not to do any of those things,
Yep.
but you don't want to do it with the money that you need for your rent. You don't want to do it with the money you need for retirement. You don't want to do it with the money that you're going to need for something in life. So use some play money to explore some of those other avenues, is what I say.
Makes sense. What
Yeah.
are like some of the biggest financial mistakes that you see people make with money?
Yeah, a few of them. So I think one is when it comes to using credit cards. One thing is some people think credit cards are like the devil and they just like, I won't use credit cards. I never use them. And I think credit cards are a great tool. They can be a great tool. But a lot of people that use credit cards have this belief that you need to carry a balance every month and you should have your balance be around 30%. I've heard that from multiple people. Like, yeah, you should keep your balance at around 30% utilization to help your credit score. And that's just not true.
Mhm.
So at the end of the day, the best way to use a credit card is to pay it in full every single month, never pay interest on a credit card, and to keep your utilization as low as possible, like 0 to 5%, maybe 10%. But if you're up to 30%, your credit score is going to be hit very negatively if you're using 30% of the credit that you're allotted. So, but I've heard that from multiple people. They hear this 30% number and they think that that's the goal that they should try to be at.
Oh, wow, that's
Yeah.
surprising. So
Mm-hmm.
let's
I was
remind.
surprised that I've heard it from more than one person. Like if it's just one person said it, I'd be like, oh, okay. But I've heard this multiple times with people. I'm like, no, that ain't it.
So then, what's the best financial investments you think that people should entertain?
Some of the simplest ones is a high interest account, like for your savings. So many people don't utilize those. And I think you're just really missing out on free money and a quicker way to grow your savings account. And another thing people miss out on is Roth IRAs. I think they are amazing tools if you qualify for one, especially if you have young kids that are working age that have earned income. Like get them into a Roth IRA as soon as possible because there are just so many benefits to the Roth, such as your money is growing tax free. When you take the money out at retirement, you take it out tax free. But if something comes up in life and you need to take out some of that money from your Roth, you can take out what you contributed without any penalty or tax, throughout the years. So I think having a Roth is like rule, like just get one. Like
That's
if
it.
you qualify to contribute to a Roth, get a Roth and try to max it out each year. There's a reason, I always say too, there's a reason that the government gives you a max that you're allowed to contribute to a Roth is because it's so good. They don't want you to like benefit even more than possible. So they're like, we're going to cap this. Like you can't benefit too much over this. So,
How long does it typically take for you to work with a client to get them from having the right mindset to showing benefits?
yeah, I would say 4 to 6 months is typical. And it's not going to be like your finances are completely overhauled at 4 to 6 months, but by then we've usually paid off some debt, we've built up some savings, you understand where your money is going, you have a better idea on how to make financial decisions, and you're feeling more confident about your ability to make financial decisions. So the programs that I offer right now can range anywhere from 1 to 4 months, but I also then do a maintenance plan. So if anybody from any of the programs says like, nope, I think I still need to work with you, we'll continue doing some maintenance coaching as well. So I think for probably the best results is getting at least 6 months, I would say, to really feel like, okay, if I'm not working with Malika anymore, I know what to do. But then they also know they can always reach out and hit me up for another appointment if we need to, because our financial situations are always changing and shifting, whether you're getting a new job or losing a job or wanting to buy a house or all these different things. So there's never a time in life where you're not making financial decisions.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. Well, you're doing a good job helping people, impacting the world one family at a time, helping people to leave a financial legacy. I know it feels
Yes.
good.
That's my goal. I just calculated how much debt I've helped clients pay off this year, and it was we hit over $100,000 in debt paid off this year, and so I'm just so excited about what's possible now for those people that have shed this debt and now have more money in their pocket every month to achieve the other financial goals that they have.
So now the a question that's kind of popping up is a lot of times people are willing to spend money on the Gucci purse or the Jordans, right? They'll spend all that money on it. But when you tell them, hey, I got to charge for my time, how do you have that conversation?
Oh, in terms of like them wanting to spend money on those material things, but not wanting to spend the money on coaching. Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct,
Okay.
correct.
Gotcha. I mean, I think of coaching as an investment in yourself. And it's honestly investment in your whole life. It's not just about money. It's investing in your life because you will be able to do more things in life that you want to do once you get your money situated, because our finances affect every aspect of life. They truly do. And
Mhm.
when I'm working with clients, let's say it is a client that loves Gucci purses. I will never tell somebody that you can't buy something. It's your money at the end of the day. But I will talk about how, well, if we didn't buy a purse this month and we put that money towards savings, this is what that would look like. or maybe it's someone that buys the purse every month. Well, maybe what if we split and buy a purse every 3 months? Like, how can we shift it so you can also hit your financial goals? Because at the end of the day, if that's what you really value and care about, then we need to create a plan that's going to be aligned with your values. It doesn't need to be aligned with my values, right? Just
Yep.
because I don't buy Gucci purses doesn't mean that a client that I'm working with shouldn't do it. Like, if it's what they really care about, then let's figure out a way to do it. Let's figure out a way to hit all of your goals. Let's figure out a way to get the purse and put money towards savings. Like, how can we navigate that? So I think that paying for coaching really is just acknowledgement that you want to invest in yourself, your future self, your children's future. And once you make that decision to invest in yourself, it costs money to invest in yourself, whether it's
Yeah.
self care, to go get a massage, or whatever it is that you're doing, is going to cost money to do it. And so I just think you have to figure out the best way to put that into your plan. Like, okay, I know I need to invest this money in myself, and I'm going to plan to buy my purse. I'm going to plan to pay for coaching. I'm going to, you know what I mean? We just got to figure out a way to put it into your plan. Um, because at the end of the day, it really is it's a priceless investment in yourself to
Yeah.
get peace of
Priceless.
mind in your finances, to be able to feel confident in your ability to achieve your goals, to be able to teach your children better habits and not feel like, oh, I'm setting this negative example for them, but to know and feel confident, like, oh, I'm showing them how to be healthy with their money and how to make the right decisions and setting them up for success. I feel like all of that is priceless. You cannot put a price tag on that.
Well said. Well said. So people are looking to work with you, especially men. Are men able to come work with you?
They are, and I get that question all the time.
Okay.
They are, but I will say when I created my business, my focus was on women, and it is on women. I will say that my focus, that is my niche market, because for a few reasons. One, women are more likely to leave the workforce and take care of their family. And we lose out on a lot of income and wealth building in that aspect. Women are more likely to make less than their male counterparts. Women are more likely to be the people that are spending their time buying things for their household. They're buying the groceries. They're buying the kids back to school clothes. They're the ones that are making all these different financial decisions. And I feel like for the majority of this country, it has been male dominated and a lot of times white male dominated. And so I feel like it was important to have a Black female presence in the financial space, helping women understand that they belong here, they have a role here, and they have a safe space to go to where they don't feel like, oh, I'm not going to be heard. And the struggles that I'm having are different than what this, male might be having, or something like that. So I really wanted to create that safe space for women to come to talk about their finances. So that is always my mission. But
Okay.
at the end of the day, I'm a helper. I'm a teacher at heart,
Oh,
so like I
that's
want to
true.
help anyone that's willing. So if a man, and I do have a male client. So when I am approached by a man and they're interested, like I'm always willing to do a free consultation with everyone to see, like, am I the right fit for you? Is this what I'm offering? Is that what you're really looking for? That kind of thing. But um, I'm always open to work with anybody, but I really just wanted to be a safe space for women, non-binary people, anyone that feels like they might not feel safe in being themselves to talking with a different person. So that's kind of my mission.
Okay. As we wrap up, what financial advice would you give to the college student that's about to graduate from college?
Yeah. Oh, I got a ton. Okay. Let me try to narrow it down. So, one, if you're about to graduate from college, I would say start using a budget tracking app to understand where your money is going. I think that's just a really important start. Just kind of say, what types of things are you spending on? And because a lot of times we think we know, like, oh, I don't spend that much here. I don't really shop that much. But once you start using a budgeting app and seeing where your money's going, you might start realizing, like, oh, okay, I'm spending more than I really want to in this area. So I would just say start off using a budgeting app just to get an idea of where your money is going. And then from there, if you have any debt, I wouldn't focus necessarily on student loan debt if you have credit card debt or something like that. But if you have some credit card debt, you want to pay that off. Um, and then build up savings. I think those are kind of the three things, like understand where your money is going, pay down high interest debt, and build up savings are just three most important things to start off with. So when you get that first job, start those habits from the get-go. Also, when you get your first job, make sure you are contributing to the retirement accounts that they're offering. So if they're offering a 401k, especially if they're offering a match, get that full match if you don't do anything else. Like get that extra,
Yeah.
that at least, you know. So I think those are some like good foundational things that you can start at 21, you know, right off the bat. You don't need a lot of money, even if you're just putting 20 bucks a month to savings. Just build that that habit, that skill. So then as your finances increase, you can then increase the amount that you're putting towards savings. But I think it's important off the bat to just, yeah, start with those foundational skills for sure.
Great. Now,
Yeah.
people have heard you. They're like, wow, I want to work with you, Malika. How can they reach out? What resources do you have available for my Financial Abundance Podcast guests?
Yeah, definitely. So my website is womenwhomoneyplan.com. So you can always go there to find me. I have a stronger presence, I would say, on Facebook out of any of the social media platforms. I do have a Facebook group. This Facebook group is just for women. It's a safe space for women to talk about finances, talk about their struggles. So Women Who Money Plan private Facebook group is an option for women to join. And then all people can follow me on my Facebook page, Women Who Money Plan, Instagram page, Women Who Money Plan, those kind of things. And I always offer free consultations where we'll get to chat and see what's going on, what are your goals, and explain to you what my program looks like and see if it would be a good fit for you. And then I also offer a guide. It's called 7 Steps to Pay Off Debt. And so that's available as well. You can find that link on my Facebook page there, and that would get you connected to me. Yeah, those are pretty much the main ways to connect to me.
Well, great, folks,
Yeah.
audience members. There's so many resources available. There's no excuse for you to suffer in agony dealing with stress, not knowing how you're going to plan for your financial future. You can go to Malia's website, womenwhomoneyplan.com. She has free resources available. You can go to madillard.com. There's free resources available. There's lots of people who are helping you build generational wealth, trying to help you become stress free when it comes to money. Folks, that's our time. Make sure you hit the like, share, and see you next time.
Awesome. Thank you.